My parents confessed last Christmas that my sister was the product of my mother's affair. I cut my parents out of my life. I always knew something was up with how my parents treated my sister Emma versus me. Like, I'm talking seriously messed up stuff. Emma would get generic birthday cards from the dollar store while I got brand new gaming setups. When I made honor roll, they'd take the whole family out to celebrate. When Emma got straight A's, they'd be like, "Cool, don't forget to take out the trash." I started noticing this crap when I turned 14. Emma would come home with perfect test scores, and my parents would barely glance up from their phones. But if I brought home a B+, suddenly I'm the family genius, and they're calling grandma to brag. It made me feel sick watching Emma's face every time they ignored her achievements. So I started using my allowance and job money to get Emma decent birthday presents. Real ones. Not the afterthought stuff my parents would grab at gas stations the night before. I'd save up for weeks to get her art supplies because she was actually crazy talented at drawing, but our parents never bothered to notice. The worst part was watching Emma blame herself. She'd be like, "Maybe if I try harder, or maybe if I'm better at sports," thinking that would make them care, but nothing worked. Meanwhile, I'm getting praise for literally breathing. When I graduated high school, I turned down their offer to pay for college. I didn't want their money anymore. I got a full scholarship to a decent state school anyway, and Emma followed me there the next year with her own scholarship. We both moved into the same apartment complex near campus. Last Christmas, we went home for the holidays like we always did. Emma was actually excited because she'd gotten accepted into this competitive art program and wanted to tell them. We're all sitting around the tree on Christmas Eve when my dad suddenly gets this weird, serious look. He's like, "We need to tell you both something," and my mom starts crying. I'm thinking someone died or something, but then my dad just blurts out, "Emma isn't my daughter. Your mother had an affair 18 years ago." The room went dead silent. Emma's face went completely white. My mom is sobbing now, saying stuff like, "We tried to love her, but we just couldn't. And every time we look at her, we're reminded of the mistake." Then my dad says the most disgusting thing I've ever heard. He goes, "Now that you're both adults, we don't have to pretend anymore. We never wanted her here." Emma bolted to the bathroom, and I could hear her throwing up. I followed her, and she was having a complete breakdown, saying she knew something was wrong with her, that she knew they hated her. I held her hair back while she puked and told her we were leaving right then. I marched back into the living room where my parents were just sitting there like they'd announced the weather. I told them they were dead to me, that what they just did to Emma was unforgivable, and I never wanted to see them again. My mom tried to grab my arm and was like, "But honey, you're our son. This doesn't change anything for you." I ripped my arm away and told her that Emma was more family to me than they ever were. We packed our stuff that night and drove back to our apartment. Emma didn't speak for 3 days. She just stayed in her room crying. I had to physically bring her food and water because she wouldn't come out. I called our school's counseling center and got Emma set up with a therapist. We both took the spring semester off so she could focus on getting better. The first few weeks were brutal. Emma kept saying stuff like, "No wonder they never loved me," and "I ruined their marriage." It took months of therapy for her to realize that none of this was her fault, that our parents were just horrible people who used a kid as their emotional punching bag for 18 years.